We're now joined by Jules Shear. How are you today, Jules?
I'm good.
So good to see you. Again, we go back 40 years, so we'll talk about that. But I know growing up...
Go back 40 years.
I know, we're only 35.
Yeah, that's
but,
true.
You know, growing up in Pittsburgh, University of Pittsburgh, what was that like? And, you know, who were some of those artists or experiences that really led you to, you know, dedicate your life to music?
Well, I don't know that it was somebody in Pittsburgh that did that. You know, it was the local stations like KDK or KQV that were AM stations. They were the stations I listened to religiously.
Yes.
That was it for me.
And this was Top 40 radio?
Top 40.
AM radio.
AM radio.
Hard to imagine these days that we actually used to listen to AM radio.
Yeah, I know. When I listen to old stuff, I think, man, what did this sound like on AM radio? Could it sound? But I liked it.
Yeah, well, we didn't know any better. So
yeah,
music coming out of a tinny little box sounded great if you didn't know better.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
but yeah, now that we have FM and CDs and audiophile vinyl, you listen to AM radio and it's like, I can't even listen to music on this.
Yeah.
But that was it. AM radio in the car. Top 40 countdown and all that. Now, who were some of the first artists that really blew your mind? And
well, the Beatles, of course.
Yeah.
The Beatles really did. But all the English bands that were doing American music.
Oh, yeah. They loved the Americans.
Yeah.
I interview all the British guys. All their heroes were the American R&B and soul and blues guys.
Yeah.
It's like the Stones, the Beatles, the Led Zeppelins, they all argue, who their favorite Americans were.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. That's what I listen to, though. That's pretty much it. And I would buy records that I couldn't hear on the radio. If I knew it, then I would, but I didn't have much money to spend on them.
Little 69-cent 45s.
That's correct,
Yes.
sir. You got the price right as well.
Woolworths, right?
Woolworths had them, yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, collecting the 45s, falling in love with music, and then what age did you start writing like your own original material?
Well, I think I probably started like around then. I was probably like 13 or something, 14 maybe.
Started coming up with your own little chord progressions.
Yeah, that's right. And I took my brother's guitar, and my brother had stopped playing it, and I thought, I'm never going to be able to play this. Plus, I'm a lefty, and he was a righty. So I thought, I'm never going to be able to play this with the low string at the bottom. How am I going to do this? So I thought, I'll tune it to a chord. So I tuned the guitar to a chord, and then I could go up and down the neck of the guitar with my thumb. And that's the way I played for a long time.
Wow.
And it worked.
So you kind of invented your own style.
I suppose I did. I don't know why.
And I'm sure you found some people since then. Of course, Hendrix and all these people that kind of created their own style.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true. He did.
So you taught yourself to play, and on your terms.
Okay. I'll accept that.
Yeah, because obviously you weren't following the rule book.
I wasn't following the rule book. That's true.
Yeah. You threw the rule book right out the window and started coming up with sounds.
That's right. Just songs I liked, and then I figured out how to know what chord that was I was playing, and once I figured that out, I could tell other people, no, it goes from a G to a C, and whatever I needed to do. I got that together, and so I started really doing it seriously.
Yeah. And the Funky Kings come about.
Well, the Funky Kings came about in 1976.
Wow. And that was out here?
Maybe it was 75 we got
You'd
together.
worked your way out here, or was this in the East Coast?
No, I came out here.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I had a couple of little bands in Pittsburgh, but it wasn't anything.
So, now obviously you're a much shorter distance to New York than to L.A. What pulled you out here to Hollywood?
Well, I had an uncle who was a doctor, and he, my dad told me that there was only money in the family in their family to put one of the kids through college, and my uncle was the oldest one, and he got to go to college and become a doctor, while my dad worked in the post office, which was fine with him, and is, you know, I didn't care. It was fine with me if he was fine with him, but it was my uncle who said, if you want to come out here, you can, we're going to bring the whole family out to L.A. and for the summer vacation. And I thought, wow, that's cool. So we got on a train. The whole family got on a train in Pittsburgh, and we went out to L.A. And I had a really great time. I loved it. And
yeah, the beach, the girls, the palm trees, the convertibles.
Okay, that's four. You got four.
Twist
right
your arm, right?
And
Pittsburgh winters.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, so we went through that, and I always remembered about L.A. and thought, wow, one day I'm going to go out there.
Yeah.
So I did. I was
American Bandstand and all that.
Yeah, by that time, yeah, it was there. Yeah.
It's amazing. So now, Jack Tempchin, I understand, was one of your bandmates at that time, and of course, Jack has gone on to write some incredible songs, most notably with the Eagles and Glenn Frey and all that. Did you see at the time an inkling of what Jack was capable of?
Oh yeah, he'd already written the songs. When I got in that band with him, he had already written songs with for the Eagles.
Okay.
So yeah.
Already gone and stuff.
These Fools You Feel.
Yeah.
Those were his two big ones, but
sure.
You know, he had the Funky Kings recorded a song called "Slow Dancing."
Yeah.
And then it wasn't a hit. It was like got to number 50 or 60 or something like that. I don't know. And then later, Johnny Rivers recorded it and had a big hit with it.
Yeah, his big comeback.
Yeah. So that was interesting. And he was in, you know, it was we had three songwriters in that group, Funky Kings.
Yeah.
It was me and Richard Steckel and Jack Tempchin. And Richard managed to get some songs recorded by like Kenny Loggins or somebody, just like things that he wouldn't ever think of to give to anyone.
Yeah.
And people were recording his songs, and people started recording mine too. Olivia Newton-John recorded a song of mine, and you know, it was like it was fine. It was fine. It wasn't what we wanted. It wasn't what we intended. We intended to be in a band, but it was fine.
Any business moving forward was better than being in reverse, I guess.
Sure.
Now, what label were you on?
Arista. We were one of the first acts signed to Arista Records when it started.
Clive Davis, huh?
It was Clive Davis.
Amazing. And you got signed off a showcase or a demo, or?
Let me see. How did we get signed? I think we got signed because Jack was in the group, actually.
Okay.
I think.
So you guys
and then we rehearsed for them, and they said, okay, we'll take a shot at this.
Yeah.
You can be our Eagles.
Right. You wrote one, you might write another.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, how did that morph into Jules and the Polar Bears?
Well, we made 2 records for Arista, but the second one didn't come out.
Okay.
So we looked at each other and went, this is getting a little insane. Why don't we just call it off? So we broke up the band. And then I thought, you know, I wanted to do something more rockin' anyhow, so I'll do something more rockin' and I'll write all the songs myself.
Yeah.
So I got Jules and the Polar Bears together, and we had a good time.
Well, that takes us back 40 years when I shook your hand in Bellingham, Washington, near the Canadian border on the Jules and the Polar Bears tour. And you played our theater, our performing arts theater, right there overlooking the beautiful bay in the Northwest. And it was exciting times. You know, you guys were on Columbia Records, and I had just started promoting the concerts at the school, and you must have had a price that was magically delicious for our budget.
Probably was.
And the rest is history. I was able to, not only did I have a signed Jules and the Polar Bears album on my wall forever, but I kept checking for your career. And was certainly very pleasantly surprised, and pleased when I started seeing the Cyndi Lauper, hits, and of course Steady on your own solo record we'll talk about, and the Bangles stuff and all that. And here we are to this day, reminiscing and moving forward with your new album, which we'll talk about. Now, how did the relationship with Cyndi come about? Was it again that she had heard your song and picked it up, or did you?
Yeah, she heard the song because the guy who was my manager at that point was Michael Lembo, and he took it to Rick Chertoff, who was the producer and A&R person for Cyndi Lauper. And Cyndi had never made a record on her own. She made one with her band that was called Blue Angel. I had never heard that record.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, this song is perfect for Cyndi. Rick Chertoff said, this song is perfect for Cyndi, and she's going to do it. But she will also really like to write some songs with you.
Yeah.
I said, maybe she shouldn't do that. Maybe she shouldn't write songs with me. I have a bunch of other songs. You can listen to them and see if they're appropriate. He says, she really wants to write with you. I said, okay, that's fine. We'll give it a try.
And this is because she liked your writing on
I guess
that
so.
song.
That's what I would assume.
And she was looking for collaborators.
Yeah, she was.
She had ideas, but she needed somebody to complete the whole.
Well, she needed someone to complete the whole. Yeah, I think that's true.
Interesting.
And
so this is her first album.
Yeah, her first album.
So it wasn't like she was already big and oh my God, it's Cyndi Lauper.
No.
It's like Cyndi who?
That's right. It was like that, pretty much. In New York, she had a little following for Blue Angel. And stuff, but, nobody else. So we got together in New York and we wrote a couple of songs, and she recorded one of them on her record along with All Through the Night, and that was on her, which was I wrote by myself. And she recorded them on her first album.
Wow.
She's So Unusual.
And then you turn on MTV and Girls Just Want to Have Fun is exploding.
Yeah, it was big. She got big.
She's the face of these young girls who want to be different.
Oh, okay.
It's like Madonna, they come out and all of a sudden all the girls want to dress like them and wear all the beads and bangles and necklaces and bracelets,
Yeah.
So it was obviously encouraging seeing this record explode, and wow, I got something on there.
That was good. I definitely enjoyed that, but I didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, it's already done.
Watch it.
So you collaborated her before that came out. You're saying one of the other songs is on that album?
Yeah, one of the other songs is on there.
Now, when did you write Steady with her?
Well, that was during that period.
Okay.
I wrote Steady.
So she didn't record it, but you're like, I'm going to record this.
That's
song.
right. That's right. I was making records at that point with. It was my second one for that label. I don't know. We just did it. We decided to kind of, even though I thought, well, I don't know, if it's really a great song or not, but. I don't know. They thought it was a single because Cyndi probably, the record company, thought it was a single.
It helped having her name involved at that point.
Yeah. So, and I thought, this is amazing that's what that they're interested in that song because value. Of Cyndi. Because Cyndi was, a very nice person and all that. But I'd written a bunch of songs. I'd written a lot of songs. And, And
they needed an angle.
I guess so.
And what did she actually contribute to that song when you collaborated?
Who knows? We sat in the room together, and when we left, there was a song. That's all I can tell you.
Hard to remember the
I don't really remember
exact input.
Who gave what?
Yeah. Well, I know on that record, your solo record, The Eternal Return, you had Bill Drescher produce. So it's a little more polished. You got the synthesizers on there.
That's true.
What was that like, kind of changing up your sound a little bit, kind of having a different input?
I was willing to do that. That was fine with me.
Yeah. Needed a third party perspective on it.
Well, yeah, a new perspective on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was fine with me. if you listen to it now, it sounds a little weird to me, but whatever. At the time, it sounded great.
Yeah.
That's all I knew. And I knew Drescher was a great engineer, and, you know, people said, why are you using that guy? He produces
Rick Springfield?
Rick Springfield.
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, well, Rick Springfield's just a guy who makes up songs.
Yeah.
But no, it's just, people have so many ideas about what
I know. You got a guy like Rick who grows up as a musician, gets lucky, gets an acting part, and then people are like, what does he know about music? Well, he's
yeah, right.
he's been a musician all his life.
Yeah, that's true.
People are so jealous. It's like, no, you can't be a hit actor and a hit artist.
Yeah.
There's something wrong, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Keanu Reeves, all these guys take all the hits for it. It's like, growing up in the arts, you know, music, acting, dance, it's painting, it's all very similar.
Yeah, I would think if you have a predilection for it,
Yeah.
then you go ahead and do it, and it sounds, I don't know, sounds good to me. So,
Yeah.
And
But Steady
Bill
got on
seemed
the
like-
radio
Bill
and
seemed like a great guy. So yeah, we recorded this album with
Yeah.
that song on it.
so that
Yeah.
gave you a nice boost. People started knowing you as an artist as opposed to just the writer at that point.
Yeah, I guess so.
More and more people are checking for
And
you.
whatever anybody thinks, I don't know. I just
Yeah.
make the stuff.
Yeah. But tell us about the evolution from there, because I know, you know, besides writing and recording your own stuff, you came up with this concept you pitched to MTV for the Unplugged series,
Yeah.
hosted that. Tell us a little bit about that evolution, how that all came about.
Yeah, well, I spoke to a guy about, I thought it would be great to do a TV show where we did acoustic versions of electric songs.
Yeah.
It seemed very simple to me. You just play with acoustic guitars and or whatever, pianos, whatever is acoustic, you just do it that way. And it's probably the way their songs were written, and it'd be interesting for people to see what that was like.
Scale it back, intimate setting. I mean,
Yeah.
a more personal look at the song or the artist.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And it seemed to work that way at first. You know, I tried to get 2 artists on every show, and so I tried to get them to play together on a song at the end of the show. If they
Collaborate.
wouldn't do it, I would just do something with them or something. But I thought it'd be good if we could play together with all with acoustic instruments. And so we started doing unplugged shows. We did whatever. I don't know. We did
Who were some of your favorite artists you did on that?
Oh, I like doing it with the church. I
Yeah.
thought the church was good. And geez, I don't know who else was on. Oh, Joe Walsh.
Yeah.
Enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, we had a lot of people on there.
And then it just got kind of corporate. They took the reins and
Well,
kept running
they
with it.
decided that what they did was, we were doing them all in New York, and they decided to come out to LA to do some shows.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, okay, that's fine. So we came out to LA and we did some shows. But on those shows, they first of all got rid of the thing where there were 2 acts on the show. There was now only 1 act on the
Okay.
show. And there was really no reason for me to be there except to say, here's Don Henley.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't really know, there was nothing else for me to do. So I did that, and that was fine, but that was really getting to the end of it where I thought, you know, that's fine, but, you know, this isn't what I want to do. I don't want to be a host. I don't want to be a guy who says,
Yeah.
here's these guys, you know.
There's a million of those guys.
That's true.
Voiceover actors or MCs.
That's true. And I didn't see myself as being a person who had the wherewithal to do that. Although, I don't know, I suppose it went fine, but I didn't want to be that person. I wanted to be a person who made music. That's what I did all my life.
Sure.
So, so we split ways and I
Yeah.
went back to it.
But another great credit, another great feather in the cap. Of course, Everybody from Nirvana to Kiss, everybody did Unplugged
Yeah.
after that, you know.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, if you loved Nirvana, it was one of the only other ways to hear a different side of Nirvana.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, because between the records and the live shows, usually it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then artists started incorporating maybe a little Unplugged set in their show or
Yeah.
things like that. But again, congratulations. That was a great era. Now, bring us, you know, to date. You know, One More Crooked Dance. Talk about how this came together, and again, talking about stripping it back. You know, voice and piano with just a little harmonica. You know, because you're used to the drums and the bass and
Yeah.
the guitars. You know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I just thought, well, I wrote all these songs. I had these songs written, and I thought, you know, if I'm going to make a record, it'd be fun to do a record where it was really stripped back. I enjoyed that concept, and I thought, you know, I don't know what radio wants out of anybody these days. It doesn't matter to me, you know. I'm past that, you know. I think what I'm doing is just I want to get the songs down so people can hear these songs. That's what I wanted to do. So I knew a guy in Woodstock who was a really good piano player, and I asked him if he would come and do it. And he said, "Yeah, I guess I would. I don't know. I guess I would try that." So I thought, okay, that's fine. So we tried some with him, and it sounded really good. And I thought, wow, this sounds fine. This sounds really nice. And then I ran to John Sebastian, who some people may not know, but
The Loving Spoonful.
Lovin' Spoonful, yeah. And John wrote.
Summer in the City.
He wrote all the big songs, and I knew him from Woodstock, and he came in. I met him in the health food store, and he said, "What are you doing, Jules?" And I said, "Well, you know, I'm making this record. It's really stripped down, you know." And he said, "Stripped down? What way?" I said, "Well, it's really just me and piano player." He said, "Really? Wow. You don't play piano, do you?" I said, No, I'm not playing piano. I got this guy, Peppy, to do it." And he said, "Peppy? Oh, huh, that's interesting. Would you like me to come by and do something?" I said, "Well, John, of course I would, but what would you do? If you played harmonica, that would be great, but I know John's a great harmonica player." He said, "I got a bunch of instruments that I'll bring over to the studio, and we'll try it. We'll try some stuff." I said, "Okay, if you want to, that'd be great. Let's do that." So we tried that. What I really wanted was the harmonica, though. I thought that would be great.
Yeah.
It was just harmonica, and he played it so good, and everything was fine with that. And when he brought up a couple other instruments, he said, "Let's try this." And I said, "Nah, I don't think so, John. I don't think it's really gonna. These little mandolin-like instruments," and I thought, "Nah, I don't think so. I think it's just really gonna stay stripped down." So we left it at that, and I got Molly Farley from town to come and sing background vocals, and we did it like that, and it turned out it's really stripped down, but it's really nice.
That's awesome. It's good to hear. Now, the writing of those songs, was that all done at one point, or was this a collection of songs you had?
It was really done at one point. It was really like the songs that I had just written.
You wrote them for the project,
Yeah, I
knowing
didn't
that
know
they
what
were
the
going to be
project was going to
performed.
be, but I had them all written. As far as I knew when I wrote them, it was going to be like a total band thing, you know. But I didn't end up doing that. I just ended up doing them stripped down, and and it sounded fine to me, so I just left it at that. Maybe I'm just dreaming or something, but that's the way I wanted it.
Yeah. I guess the thought was when you start adding the little mandolins and this and that, then you just start stacking instruments, it becomes the same thing,
I think.
you know.
I think
If it's going to be stripped down, just a voice and a piano, then, you know, the harmonica is not a stringed instrument, you know,
Yeah.
that'll stand out and flavor it.
Yeah, it all worked out good
Yeah.
as far as I was concerned. I'm very happy with the record.
That's amazing. Well, it's great to live in this independent world now where you can kind of do what you want and not have the A&R guy over your shoulder telling you, well, that's not a hit and you need to write one of these. And then, of course, you know, the ability to kind of get it out. There's more work involved, obviously, but, you know, you're the chef. You know, you can do it your way and give people the experience that you envision.
Yeah.
You know, rather than kind of part your vision and part the label's vision.
Yeah, that's true. That's quite so.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I know you're performing out here at the Federal and the Mint, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're looking forward to those shows. Now, for people to come up to date with you, stay in touch with what you're putting out, or certainly find this music, is there a website, or how can people follow you online?
Yeah, there is a website. Do I know what it is, though?
That newfangled interweb thing.
Yeah. You know, if you just look up Jules Shear.
Yeah, Google you, and it'll lead to
It'll go.
someplace that
It'll go.
music is consumed.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well, we love it. Now, you know, we talked a little bit about the indie world, that, you know, artists these days don't have to go get a record label, and then a lot of them that start getting these offers are like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
You're going to give me one check and I'm going to be in debt forever, and you know, you're going to tell me what to do and when my music's coming out. And,
Yeah, that's right.
you know, what are some of the other advantages you see for newer artists coming up today to kind of chart their own course and not have to worry about that old industry?
Well, that's up to each individual to decide what they want to do.
Yeah, I can't tell them what to do.
Yeah, you can't tell them what to do.
But at least they have options.
Well,
But
that's
before,
true.
you know,
That's
you
quite
just
tough.
you send a demo and you hope to get a phone call, which usually never came.
Yeah, that's true. Quite, yeah, people are just doing what they can do, what they want to do, and that's fine, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, at least you can move forward, even if it's just your little circle of fans that could grow by word of mouth and,
That's right.
you know, social media and all that. Now, as far as songwriters today, I know, you know, with the advent of computers and digital recording and everything, a lot of people are looking for the shortcut or the software that's going to help them write a song and all that. Coming from a longtime songwriter, what advice do you have to songwriters coming up that are really truly serious about, you know, wanting to become a great writer? You know, what are some of the tips that you can impart on them?
Tips? Well, I don't know. You know, you just have to do what you think is really good. And the best way to do it is to write by yourself. I believe. Just write by yourself and not record it. Just be able to do that song, perform that song, maybe by yourself or with another friend or something like that. That's a good way to start out. And then you can decide how to record it later. But I don't think you can really... Well, you can, of course, go in and just start recording without having anything and just try to build it up that way. But I think the best way to do it is to write it first. Write something and know that you've got something good before you go into record it. That's the way to do it. That's the way it was done in the old days.
Yeah.
And I believe it's probably done a lot of the time that way now, where people have a good song before they even record it. I think that's the way to do it. I don't know. That's just me.
Well, there's certainly an art to that of, you know, having a finished song even before you might get other opinions and you hammer it into the finished, you know, fully recorded band song, you know, that's your vision, that it's, kind of stands on its own, in one way that, it is a complete song, and seems like a lot of people, like I say, go into the studio trying to come up with that are super winging it. Not that some magic can't happen, but you're kind of waiting for inspiration rather than, like you say, the old days with the Beatles. George Martin set up the mics and let's go, guys.
That's right.
What do you got?
Yeah. And they go, we got some songs. We record. Let's record that song. We wrote the other day. Let's do that one. Okay, fine. So,
and they were gig tested. You had played them hundreds of times.
That's true. In some cases, that's true. In some cases, maybe you've never played them in front of anybody.
Yeah.
But when somebody said, "Does anybody have a song?" You had it, and you can go in and do it. That was good.
Yeah, so there's a beauty in that. Now, I know there's a lot of songwriting schools, there's songwriting coaches, there's books and programs, online. Do you find that some of that can be helpful for someone trying to kind of find their way to...
Personally,
yes.
I don't know about any of that stuff. I don't like to teach anybody how to write a song.
Yeah.
I've avoided all times when people have suggested that I try that. I don't really, nobody ever taught me how to do it. Not that I would say, because no one ever taught me, I'm not going to teach anybody else. That's not it. But I think that, it came a lot truer to me because I just went ahead and did it, rather than asking somebody, how do you do this? How do you write a song? What do you mean when you go to a bridge? What's a bridge? Or whatever it is. I was just making them up, and I think that's all people did in the past, was just make them up, and that was really the key to it, and that's really I believe it's the key to it. I don't know. That's just me, but that's what I think.
So if it sounded good to you, then that's what's important.
That's it.
And obviously you're not a fan of these formulaic, producer writers that it's all like, manipulator manufactured. Well, truth be told, this type of notes and this type of progression and this beats per minute and this is proven that's a hit. So, these guys are like Dr. Frankenstein, That
was true. Everybody would be doing it with that beat and that everything would be, and it may seem like that's happening. But, but that's not listening to all the ones that people tried to write that way and you never heard.
Yeah.
Which are the vast majority, I would think. I think you just got to be true to yourself, man. Just do it the way you want to do it.
And when we look back at the history of music, the great songs that really resonate, the ones that really stand the test of time and will be here forever past, are those that, happen naturally. And obviously, one worked at their craft, but I always hear that sometimes the best songs are the ones that come out fast. They're not belabored, It's like the song was already written. You just channeled it.
Yeah, there is some kind of spooky thing to that.
Yeah, you just open up the communication lines and it kind of writes itself.
Yeah, they can. I mean, it helps if you have some background. It helps if you know what you're doing a little bit before you go into that, but. Or they can just happen really fast. I don't know. They can just be written really fast, and I don't know. The song that Cyndi Lauper did, that was written really fast.
Yeah.
I just wrote it, and I had somewhere to be that afternoon, and I thought, I'm going to write today. So I started writing. In an hour or two, I had something, and I said, okay, I'm going now. And I left, and when I listened back to it, I thought, that sounds pretty good. And ended up, it was really good for me.
Yeah. Well, that's incredible. And when you look out there at the history of music, who are some of the songwriters or are artists that continue to give you inspiration when you look at their body of work or, you know, their command of what they
Let
do?
me see. There's people like, I don't know who it would be. People who you might not know. Jimmy Webb.
Yeah.
Who, there's Elton John and Bernie Taupin.
Yeah.
Who, speaking of a songwriter who writes with a lyricist.
Yeah.
I mean, Elton's written some incredible songs that were, all of his best ones, I believe, were written with Bernie.
Yeah.
And they just worked out something, you know.
It's a chemistry.
Yeah, I think so. And if you can do that, fine. I find that I'm better writing by myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think I am, than writing with anybody else. And that's why I bring up Jimmy Webb, is because he would always write by himself. He'd always just write songs, and they seem to be great to me. Now that said, I have written songs with Jimmy Webb, and it didn't really work out that great. So that's possible that you know.
It's a little awkward writing with someone.
I think it is, you know.
Kind of impedes your process.
I think so. And you're trying to come up with something under some sort of circumstances that you've put together where you both end up in the room. But I don't know.
It's kind of like this arranged marriage, you know. It's not. It didn't happen naturally. You guys are kind of put in this room to create the magic, and
yeah,
it's like a lot of pressure.
Right.
This guy wrote, you know, Wichita language. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Tell him how to write.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't there to tell him how to write. Believe me. I took him to learn something about the whole thing. But we wrote a few songs. That was fun. It was fun to do, and it was interesting to do. It was a learning experience for me.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that those are great songs that someone should record someday. I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, what amazing body of work, you know, from my first concert I put on with Jules and the Polar Bears 40 years ago to seeing your songs live on through these other artists, and now new music, you know, constantly coming out. We're excited to see you perform these songs tomorrow. We'll keep spreading the word. New album, One More Crooked Dance. Jules, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thanks.
Can't wait for our next interview.
Great. Thanks a lot.